You know, I feel he's a bit young.
He's ready, Chin.
Alfie, I want to start with you because we haven't had the chance to talk. You play the heart and soul of this movie in Spike, and Spike is a character that somehow retains his humanity despite being surrounded by a lot of people who have gone mad. Where do you think that humanity comes from?
I think it's just the childlike wonder that he still has because he's been sheltered all of his life. And I think it's the fear of not wanting to become just a ruthless killer. He wants to still have some, like you said, humanity.
We do get a glimpse later in when Isla's on the mainland with Spike, where we kind of see the savage side of her. It's implied that there's a ferociousness behind Isla that we didn't get to see fully in this film. What do you think that says about who she was before she became ill?
I guess that she shouldn't really be underestimated in that way. But I think there is a lot of rage within her. You know, I think she's been kind of confined and very much isolated. And I think there is like a really real deep frustration that is bubbling away under her because she doesn't have all the answers and she can't be there for her son and her family in the way that she probably has known how to be for a very long time. So yeah, I guess that she shouldn't be underestimated. Danny,
to start with you, approaching the theme of humanity is the villain in this film. That's such a big narrative that plays throughout the 28 franchise as a whole. How did you go about developing that as a humanity being kind of almost more of an antagonist than the infected themselves?
Well, the premise has always been from the moment that Killian in the first film appears to be infected in his rage at the end of the movie to save the girls. There's always been this crossover, which is that it's making clear that these are not monsters, that it is something that exists within us all and that we're all capable of, and it's a condition that we can all end up with, really. There was always that idea throughout. And you see it here. You even see Isla, who's the most unlikely character to be exhibiting it. She has got it within her at that moment. So it was always something that is shared amongst us all. And that's one of the things that keeps alive, I think, keeps the dynamic alive, rather than it being just monsters or creatures from outer space or the reanimated dead, or it's something that lives amongst us and emerges in different ways.
Very much so. Alex, congrats on all your success lately, by the way. Obviously, Warfare came out earlier this year. We had Civil War go crazy last year. You've become such a prolific director in the times since that you wrote the earlier 28 Days Later movie back over 20 years ago. How have your experiences as a director impacted how you write, specifically with 28 Years Later?
Well, quite a lot, I think. Partly I just understood more about the process, but I think that my sense of what a director did while I was working on 28 Days was extremely hazy. I mean, I could see Danny doing stuff, but what that stuff meant, or where it sort of, why it happened, or why it happened in the way it happened, was really quite mysterious to me. And it remained that way, I think, until I started directing, and then suddenly you understand just a different perspective on the job. And I think the key difference was that I thought, I'm going to write this script and I'm going to hand it over and I'm going to step back, because as a director, I would not want somebody on set who was in effect saying, no, not like that, like this. And so I thought, I'm just going to give Danny total space. And I think I didn't do that with 28 Days Later, really, because I didn't understand what the spaces were. I didn't know where the edges of the spaces were, I suppose. And that I think that would be a big difference.
Now, son, Spike, finish it!